Those of you who've actually had sex with a friend's mom or dad, how did it go down? Needed a place to stay when I was 18, so my friend's mom said I could move in with them and rent a room. Everyone in the house had a tendency to go to bed early except her and I. She liked to drink. I liked to game. One night I was bored and went out to the garage where she was drinking and listening to music. We bullshit for a while and she asked if I wanted a drink. Hell yeah I do. After I had a couple shots of Goldschlager she started with the "Oh, my neck is so stiff. I wish someone would rub it." Being a warm-blooded teen with hormones and booze coursing through my veins, I jumped at the chance. She was 47 and had the body of someone in her early 20s. As I rubbed her shoulders, the strap on her nightgown kept falling down, showing a little more skin. She'd pick it up and let it fall further the next time. Each time I'd let my hands wander a little. After a few minutes she commented how wonderful it felt and if I'd to her back. I don't think any blood was making it past my waist, so I agreed without hesitation. We went inside. She faced away from me and pulled her gown down to her waist and laid on her stomach. I rubbed her back for a while, and when I was done I half-jokingly asked if she needed the front done. She said yes, but only if I'd rub her tits. I couldn't get a single word out. I was stunned. She rolled over. Titties right there for me to play with, so I waited for my brain to reboot and did as I was told. After that massage, things escalated and she ended up riding me on the couch. That was the first time I had sex without a condom, and I immediately saw what all the fuss was about. It happened a few more times. Always started with her asking if I wanted a drink. Eventually I put an end to it because I got back with my girlfriend and I wasn't going to cheat on her. Once I stopped having sex with the mom, she flipped out on me and evicted me. I wasn't able to ever tell my friend what happened while I lived there because him and his mom would got nasty when they fought. In those times nothing was sacred. Whatever they could say to hurt the other. After I moved out he called me a one night and I laughed until I was afraid I'd pass out. When I regained my composure he asked what was so funny. I told him he wasn't a liar and told him what had happened. For 30 minutes all he could say is "You're shitting me." It was my friend's aunt, not his mom, but they were like close family and always over his house. I knew her for about 10 years, but barely spoke at length with her. She had a pretty American life. Husband, 3 boys. They liked camping and archery and Boy Scouts. They were always involved with family and friends and always together. Her husband had been cheating on her with their kids' friends' parents. Kind of a swinging situation. But she was out of the loop. Once she found out, she kept it secret because she didn't want to ruin the family and just dealt with denying their relationship. While sleeping in the same bed, she knew for about 4 years and finally, at 40 years old and 20 years of marriage, decided to divorce him. Very messy divorce. Her ex straight told her kids that she just didn't want a family anymore and she didn't want to tell them he had cheated because she didn't want them to think of their father like that. She held true for quite a few years. But the kids were brainwashed by her ex. She was alienated from her kids. I was over my friend's, her nephew's house on and off for a lot of my late teens and early 20s. He lived right down the road and us younger guys would smoke weed and hang out there all the time. The entire summer was spent at his house. I was about 23, she 42, when we just kinda started chatting at the table. She didn't smoke. She would just be visiting the family because it was all she had at that point. Every couple weeks after that we would find ourselves chatting away somewhere in or around the house or the pool. Often when people were around we kept conversations short and a lot of eye glancing and passing rubs would take the place of talk. She was definitely in great shape. Cute and blonde. Strong. Determined. But you could tell she dealt with a lot. She was tense to the touch. She worked hard and just didn't get a good shake. We started texting because we needed each other's numbers for some Halloween party she was hosting for the extended family. Eventually intermittent texting turned flirtatious. Similar to the top post on this thread. We started to hug goodbye from seeing each other, and she would just hug a little bit longer than friendly. One night, I was house-sitting for someone and told her I was doing nothing and she could come by and hang out. Meet the dogs and the weird lizard they had. She accepted and I definitely experienced a type of anxiety anxiety that you could taste. She came over. We ordered Italian food. She didn't even want to be seen by the delivery driver. And that was when I knew she had some bad intentions too. We ended up in front of the TV. She just snuggled right up to my chest and my hand fell on her butt. I don't think 30 seconds went by and we looked and started kissing. I immediately started to undo her pants. As she's taking her pants off, she says she hasn't done this in 5 years and she was really nervous. It was the hottest sex I'd ever had. I remember it vividly. Also similar to the top post. She was adamant I come inside her and she would talk about how she wanted to feel the warmth when I finish. I've never had a better sex partner. We ended up hooking up about 5 more times over the course of a year. I would go to her house a few towns over and she would make us a full dinner. We'd chat over wine, and have such amazing and fulfilling sex. We both ended up dating people, but would stay in touch. We hooked up once again when we were single again. I still see her a couple times a year when I visit for family BBQs and pool parties at my friend's house. Everything is super cool. We still glance and rub and nudge. We still hug for way too long. No one has a clue. How weird was the lizard? When I was 20, the friend in question's mom could get us into a bar her friend owns. Every week me and 3 friends would go and she would buy every drink and be over all of us. One night after her son crapped out early, I just said the hell with it, went along with it. When we got back to the house, she was hot for a mom but a dead fish in bed, so it felt really underwhelming to say the least. Anyway, she made me breakfast the next morning, blew me real fast and took me home all before he woke up. To this day the friend I'm pretty sure knows, but we don't talk about it. After reading all the comments, I learned that a marriage on the edge of divorce is perfect occasion to make your move. Also, you don't have to be that close with your friend to be friend at all. I don't know what to do with this information. I know a girl who cheated on her boyfriend of 5 years with his dad. She and the dad are married now. That's a mind and a half. Some of the best sex of my life. She is a well-known musician. It got weird though because she eventually met somebody her own age and started treating me like one of her kids. She has 3 daughters yet kept inviting me over for family dinners. Got too bizarre. I was 23 and she was 44. Her son and I were friends and in college together. She was 5'2", thin, really cute and originally from the Dominican Republic. She had always kind of flirted with me, but I just thought that's all it was. I was wrong. A bunch of us got together and went out to have dinner on night, and she went with us. We all had fun and went back to her house. Her son and his girlfriend went to bed, and before I was able to get out the door, she asked me to sit beside her, by the fireplace. She leaned her head on my shoulder and looked up at me and asked, "Do you want to?" Couldn't say yes fast enough. She and I dated for 2.5 years. As a bonus, I learned a good deal of Spanish from her. So he wasn't really a friend per se. I used to buy weed off him in my mid-20s and he was about 20 and lived with his mom. She was late 40s. Definitely art trashibona material. Went by once and he was just leaving. His mom asked if I wanted to drive her to the bar. Turns out she had had a few and currently had a breathalyzer in her car. I knew I was getting laid whether I wanted it or not. Anyway, fun night. Never went by there again. Had sex with my mom's friends. Pretty traumatic experience in all honesty, so I'm sorry if this isn't the erotica you guys are looking for. I was only 14-15, whatever a freshman in high school is. She had always been the cool mom out of my mom's friend group. Hooked me up with my first job at a catering company she worked for, snuck me and my friends alcohol from time to time, etc. It was also pretty apparent her marriage was on the rocks for some time. One night we were both working a catering event together that had an open bar, and she had quite a bit to drink and began flirting a little. She would ask me questions about if I had ever been with an older woman, what I liked to do to girls. Weird shit. But in all honesty I went along with it at the time. Fast forward to the end of the night, she was my ride home and was too drunk to drive, so I drove her car home to my dad's place. As soon as I parked the car, she forced my hands on her breasts and started fondling my dick. I was in shock and managed to stutter something resembling "we shouldn't do this." She proceeded to coerce me and tell me I was gay if I didn't want to do it, and that it would be weird if I didn't. I eventually caved in, and proceeded to receive the most painful blowjob of my life that left actual marks on my dick and awkward van sex. I remember feeling like I wanted to throw up as I walked into my dad's house 15 minutes after I had pulled up. Not quite the wild pool boy story, but I was hoping to shed some light on how ugly these scenarios can wind up.